This is Unit 1, Lesson 7. We're going to add fractions with unlike denominators. You're going to need to be on student book page 17, and I want you to pause the video and write this note down on that page. To find a common denominator, multiply the two denominators. This is when we're having to add two fractions that don't have the same denominator. It's a quick way to find a common denominator. Okay, now we're in student book page 17. It should look like this. Make sure you're looking at page 17 and not the homework book. You're in the big student book. Mrs. Holm already did one version of this lesson, so sorry I have marks already. It actually is a little confusing how they've set this up, so that's why I'm walking you through it. You'll notice that there's a whole fraction bar up here. These are the two fractions we're going to add, 1/2 and 1/3, and you can see they're not the same parts. We don't know how to add those just by adding them on a fraction bar. We have to convert them so they have the same denominator. And the quick trick way to do that is to multiply the two denominators. 2 times 3 is 6. So that's going to be our common denominator. You're actually going to put that right here. The common denominator is 6. That would go right there. And then here's how we're going to convert that. So here's the 1/2 that's above my finger, 1/2, and we're going to change it into a fraction. The answer is actually going to end up being 3/6. But what do we need to do I always start at the bottom. I'm not sure why I always do that, but I always go from the denominator up to the numerator. 2 times what would get me to 6? 2 times 3, yeah. And then let's do the same. If we multiply the bottom by 3, we have to do the top by 3. 1 times 3 would give me 3. So I can change 1/2 to be a fraction, 3/6. Now I'm going to do the same thing with my second fraction. 1/3, I want it to have a denominator of 6. So I'm going to take the 3 and multiply it times 2 to get 6. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. 1 times 2 gets me 2. And notice in both cases, I have only multiplied the original fraction by something that's the equivalent of 1. 3/3 is like multiplying it times 1. I haven't changed the value of the fraction because anything times 1 is still itself. It still hasn't changed the name. We just are re-representing it in a different way, but the value, the amount, if you have 1/2 of a pie or 3/6 of a pie, it's the same amount of the pie, right? Same with 1/3. 1/3 of a pie is the same as 2/6, so I didn't change the value. That's really important to know. So that is all they are having you do on this page. You're just rewriting the fractions so that they have common denominators. You'll complete this page on your own. And then on the next page, I want to point out a few things. We're going to be working through these on our Zoom today. This section, you're just choosing a common denominator. So again, I want you to actually think about this. You don't have to use the tip I gave you to multiply the two denominators, 10 and 5. I want you to think of another strategy, use another strategy, and that is to do that factor list. And some of you already know, well, I can just change the second fraction because 5 times 2 would get me to 10. So I can leave 7/10 alone and change 1/5 so it has a denominator of 10. Because 5 times 2 is 10. And sometimes that is the easiest way to find a common denominator. You don't have to do that first tip, 10 times 5 is 50. Now I could, because I could take 1/5 and I could have a denominator of 50. 5 times 10 would give me 50. 1 times the same thing, 10, would give me 10. So I could rewrite that fraction as 2/10 or 10/50. Same value because I've multiplied the top and the bottom by the same. So your answers when we review might be different depending on the denominator. Number 6, 11 and 2, I'll give you a hint. There's no factors that they have in common, no multiples. So you're going to use 22, 11 times 2. Change both of them to a denominator of 22. You might just write that down. Number 7, there's several options here. The easiest one is going to be It could be 12 or 24. So think about that. You can convert them to have a denominator of 12 or 24. This one, you're going to multiply the bottom. 8 times 5, you're going to change both of them to a denominator of 40. I'm going to let you wrestle with 9 and 10. But what I want you to notice, I've highlighted a couple pieces of vocabulary for you. Remember, sum means addition. And down at number 11, make a diagram means a picture or a drawing to help you. So you're going to actually draw maybe a little map to show the distance. And then go all the way down to number 13. Here, this problem, I'm going to read it out loud. Of the songs downloaded from a music website on Tuesday, 1/6 were country songs and 3/10 were rock songs. What fraction of the songs were country or rock songs? So really what it's saying is, what's the total? Country, whether it's country or rock songs, what's the total amount of songs that were downloaded? So this one isn't directly telling you the sum, asking you for the sum or the total or any of those really key words that we look for in word problems. Okay, please join the Math Zoom.